Alright, welcome back. I've got a Blu-ray and DVD update. A lot's come out. It's coming out soon. The two things I noticed that most of you probably know what the main releases are that's coming out, but two Franco films are coming out in September from MVD, Kilimanjaro, and then Girls of the Amazon, one of those type films, two from Franco. So I've got those on my list. And then, of course, the Severin is releasing the Zombie Collection, which I've already seen. Like Seth had his review. He's already shown his. I've got mine pre-ordered, so as soon as it comes in, I'll share with you what that looks like. As far as pickups, first up is a classic trilogy of It's Alive. And this is a Scream Factory release. Love these Larry Cohen films. Saw It's Alive at the drive-in when I was a kid. It scared the shit out of me. Killer Baby. And for some reason, the scene that stuck with me is when the milk falls out of the milk truck and is mixed with blood. I don't know why. I mean, at the time, I was probably 8 years old when I saw this. So it genuinely scared me. Particularly the scene in the OR when the baby's first born and there's just blood everywhere in the OR suite. Great stuff. I like all three films. I'm really eager to check this thing out. Special feature wise, it's a new 2K scan. Looks like there's a new feature out with Larry Cohen looking back at It's Alive interviews. If you have the original DVD releases of these three films, there was commentary tracks with Larry Cohen on that original DVD release, but certainly this new 2K scan, this is a must purchase, I think. Next up, Severin's release for Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals. And it's got a really nice, but man, the slipcover's like brutal on that. Nice black case, Blu-ray DVD combo. Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals was an interesting film. It actually, you know, when you say the word Emmanuel, most people are going to think porn. It really was kind of light on the. I mean, obviously there's nudity in this, but it really wasn't particularly gory or pornographic. The sexual content. I mean, there's certainly some scenes, but I expected a lot more, particularly from Joe D'Amato. I enjoyed it a lot. Special feature-wise, you've got an interview with the composer, an interview with one of the actresses in the film, a number of different interviews. So and actually there's an audio interview with Laura Gemsler, who was, of course, played Emmanuel. Very interesting, good movie. Highly recommend this release. Next up is The Terror, or Terror, and this is a Vinegar Syndrome release with the gorgeous slipcover. This is a Z-grade movie. It kind of washed through for me. I mean, I watched it. But it certainly didn't resonate with me. But I mean, it's a good one-time watch, and you know, Vinegar Syndrome does a great job with these releases. They really do. It's a new 2K scan, video interviews with the director Norman Warren, screenwriter. I mean, outtakes, extended scenes. I've not worked through the special features yet, but I did watch the movie, and it's kind of a variant. I guess it's to make a long story short, it's kind of a variant of Evil Dead. Still recommend the release. Vinegar Syndrome's doing a great job. Another Vinegar Syndrome release was Blue Vengeance with the embossed, well, it's not embossed, but it's a really nice thick slipcover. Blue Vengeance. This is another scan of the 2K and a commentary track with the director. Actually, it's got two commentary tracks, one with the actor and the director, and then a making-of documentary. It's got a lot of special features. This is a a strange horror action mashup. You just kind of got to see it to believe it. It combines rock. It's a essentially you've got a musician that sucks, and he makes a deal with a pact with essentially with the devil so that he gets some recognition. I liked it better than The Terror. It's a good underground B-Z movie. Next up, I think this is Code Red. Yeah, it's Code Red's Primal Scream. And this has a director audio commentary and a making of Primal Scream, which I have not watched that. This is an 80s sci-fi horror film. It's basically almost like a Andromeda strain type situation where a guy basically from outer space brings back the scientists have found this ability to kill people using it. They've got this. They're growing this element that's able to eat through human flesh and destroy body parts. Pretty cheesy, but entertaining. I enjoyed it. Next up's a crazy, crazy film, and that is The Soul Tangler. This is a wild, wild independent horror film from 1987, directed by a guy named Pat Bisho. It's a Reanimator on steroids. It's really a no-budget Reanimator movie. It's a hilarious, hilarious, entertaining film, though. Highly recommend the release. Next up, a film that's been getting a whole lot of airplay, and that is The Terrifier. I watched The Terrifier, and I think this is a tale of two stories. This film is kind of in the first 30 minutes of this film. It's a Blu Ray DVD combo. The first 30 minutes of this film are genuinely disturbing, and I think they played it serious, and rightfully so. I think they were onto something in the first 30 minutes of this film, but then it just disintegrated into a combination of outrageous gore and comedy, over the top kind of scenes that I think diminish the impact of the first 30 minutes. This is one I don't think knew what it wanted to be, and it combined two elements, and it just, to me, it was kind of a missed opportunity. I enjoyed it, but I would much rather them just play it straight, play it serious, and play it downbeat the way they started the first 30 minutes. I think that would have been a much better film. Next up is another release for Vinegar Syndrome, and that's Bloodhook with slipcover. Bloodhook is a slasher film that's, well, words have a hard time describing this thing. It's crazy. A lot of gore, a lot of silly special effects. The movie's probably 10 minutes too long, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. It's probably one of the best underrated slashers of the 80s that has certainly got a recent release, and this is a beautiful release by Vinegar Syndrome. Blu Ray DVD combo, and then you've got the alternate artwork. I thought it was, I mean, you've got basically a slasher that uses fishing hooks and fishing line to kill people. Hilarious. Very entertaining. But again, it's probably 10 minutes too long, honestly. Here's an Arrow release, and that is Flowers in the Attic. 1980, I want to say 1987. Let me see here. .20 audio track. It's in the 80s. I want to say 1987. This is a film about a woman that essentially kills off her kids, puts them in the attic so that she can remarry and get into money. I thought everything that built up to the film, and it's based on a novel actually. V.C. Andrews released a novel in 1979 called Flowers in the Attic. this is a film that I think the ending kind of ruined it for me. I thought the build up and everything that went towards the ending was great. The payoff of the ending was well, it just made it a very pedestrian, silly film, and it's another one that I think the ending diminished the impact of the seriousness of everything that built up to it. So to me, Flowers in the Attic is another missed opportunity. Next up is a Jose Larraz double feature. And this is a release from, I want to say Dorado Films. I think this is a Dorado release. It's got that little clip on it. These are two psychological horror films. Larraz, I was surprised. These two films was not what I was expecting from a Larraz film. Yeah, there's gore in it, and it's a Spanish. It's got the Euro gore thing going for it, but they're really psychological thrillers. One's from 1974, and The Stigma is from 1980. Both films are very enjoyable, but yeah, I would have to say these are two films that you need to be in the mood. You need to be focused and not tired when you watch it. This is not something you just put on and turn your brain off. You really got to kind of pay attention to these two films. Next up is, I believe, Paul Naschy's best film, The Devil Incarnate. This is a fantastic film that I'd never seen before. Mondo Macabro release. It's the most nihilistic film that I think he's ever done, and it really is a very personal film for him. It's about Paul Naschy plays this evil 16th century guy that's going around basically taking whatever he wants and killing people and torturing them and abusing them, and he does it just because he can. Very nihilistic film, fascinating film. Highly recommended. This is probably the best of all the films that I've seen in the last few weeks. And then finally, I think I've mentioned before, I kind of have a thing for The Hunchback. Is one of my favorite characters, and I'd never seen this before. Anthony Hopkins in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and this was a made-for-TV film back in the 80s that got a release. This release is not sure who. This is a Sony Pictures release. No special features. It looks like it's made for TV, probably a BBC type film. Great cast in this. Obviously, you got Anthony Hopkins as Quasimodo, Leslie Ann Down as Esmeralda, and Derek Jacobi, who was from I, Claudius TV series. The story is what you would expect. It's basically follows the Victor Hugo novel, and I thought Anthony Hopkins was very good in it. So I would recommend this if you've never seen it. It's an excellent portrayal of the Hunchback. Okay, well, let me know what you think of those editions for the month, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.